Ever since the ending of the first year of Hazbin Hotel, and well, this happened.
If hell is forever, then heaven must be alive.
It sparked such a wave of commotion that it briefly woke up Father Time. I had to punch him back to sleep before he started ringing Narnia's death bell. But with the second year now come and gone, there are credible hints that Emily was never actually going to become the next angel to fall. Instead, it's going to be everyone's favorite Lute. No, not that Lute. Yeah, there we go. It's annoying when angels are actually named after instruments. They get confused all the time. Of course, that could have been seen a mile away, even by a blind man. Lute has become apoplectic since Adam bought the farm via a very deadly and crazy little Nifty.
Nifty?
But even more telling is that she's the only one who seems to be mourning his death, outside of the possible exception of the Exorcist, since no one else seems to care, and, well, I mean, they don't even bring it up at all. In fact, we don't even get to see any of the other Exorcists except for Lute in the entire second year. Makes you wonder something. Granted, given how he acted at times...
No way! I'm the dick fucking master! So, anyway, and we fucked, and it was awesome. What'd you do this weekend?
Yeah, that's not surprising. But that brings us to a curious question. What does it take for an angel to fall? The angel falls when they go against the will of heaven. Then, you know, angels actually do have free will, after all.
You can't make an effective soldier by force.
But falling isn't due to simple disagreement, even questioning, or even having doubts. It's the earliest and most innocent step, in fact. It is the mark of an inquisitive mind, and that in and of itself is not a bad thing. It's what happens next that leads to so much trouble. Those angels begin to believe they know better, that their way of seeing things is correct beyond what they're being told, and they take active steps to enforce that idea. This is what we see with Lucifer, and it illustrates the process in which an angel becomes a fallen. While again, angels do have free will and can exercise it, it's kind of the main reason as to why so many believe that Emily would become the next fallen. After all, Sarah herself actually does state this.
If you start to question, you could end up like Lucifer, fallen. I couldn't bear to see you suffer that fate.
Let's look at Lucifer, shall we? In biblical lore, he fell because he became drunk on power. His purpose was to channel the prayers, the songs, and devotions of the heavenly host directly to God. It flowed through him first, then processed into a single coherent praise of power. For uncounted millennia, he was fine with his duty. He basked in the radiance and love of the heavenly host. But eventually, that power went to his head. After all, was he not the most beautiful angel? Did he not feel the heavenly host more deeply than any other? Beyond Michael, Gabriel, the Metatron, perhaps even God itself. After all, having pride in your work is one thing, but then it turned to greed, envy, lust, gluttony, and finally wrath, twisting him until pride became an ever-stretching weed. In time, he sought to be above God, to sit atop the stars of the throne and rule over all. This led to the rebellion and his eventual casting out, and he became the first fallen. He embodied many sins that would later be defined as the 7 deadly sins. Yet, even in that darkness, he could have still been redeemed, but his next actions ensured that he'd be imprisoned in hell for all time. In Hazbin Hotel, we see a similar pattern. Though we aren't given the full story, what little that has been revealed shows that Lucifer's fall in the Hellaverse started with a simple difference of opinion with the elder angels. This difference was far more innocent than his biblical counterpart. He sought to comfort and share the knowledge of free will with humanity. One mistake led to another, loneliness from the elder angels' rejection, reaching out to Lilith, and ultimately gifting the apple to Eve, allowing evil to enter the earth. His initial intent was kind, but actions spiraled into the consequences that heaven could no longer ignore. The pattern is clear. Lucifer's fall came not from the initial thoughts, however rebellious, but the actions that followed. Thoughts without actions cannot become substantial. Now let's examine Emily and Lute. Emily, the Seraphim of Joy, exists to make people happy in heaven, maintaining order through genuine positive influence. People assume she would fall because she questioned heaven's methods, but questioning alone isn't enough. It's the action that counts. Emily wasn't letting her desires blind her. She recognized that the exterminations were wrong, and her reaction as Seraphim of Joy was justified. Given that sinners cannot leave the pride ring, like winners are unable to leave heaven, there wasn't an action she could have realistically taken that could go against against Heaven's will. She displayed moral outrage, but acted responsibly. She could communicate with Charlie, investigate divine judgment. Really, there's nothing that could be done. It's not like she's gonna open up a portal and just let the people in. In contrast, Lute is having a massive mental breakdown since Adam was killed by Nifty. Lute, while not questioning the extermination, instead pushed for its importance and even tried to manipulate Sarah, even in the presence of the Speaker of God itself.
As head of Heaven's exorcist army,
As what?
When the Speaker of God questions Lute's claimed authority, it becomes clear that she's stepping out of Heaven's will. Her grief is clouding her judgment. While mass murder isn't sinful for angels in this context, as seen with the Exorcist, her wrath and vow against Charlie, a person she cannot attack due to the Heaven-Lucifer agreement, are active steps towards rebellion. Even if her rebellion is limited to a fraction of Heaven's forces, the potential for conflict exists. After all, no kingdom has a singular military force, and Heaven would certainly not just have the Exorcist. They would have the powers, they would have the cherubim, two forces that quite literally would be the Exorcist's worst nightmare. Now, there's actually one thing to discuss here when it comes down to this idea of fallen angels, and that is Vaggie. Given that she is deemed for some reason to be a fallen angel, I don't think it's that clear of a situation. If anything, she is more of a castaway, an exile that was never reported to Sarah given the situation. While she did show mercy to the demon child, who is likely from the Campbelltown if you ask me, she was punished by Lute. Her eye was cut out and her wings removed, but left behind. One could say she was the first casualty that the angels had ever taken during the exterminations. But that is a very stark situation in comparison to Lucifer, the potential falling of Lute and Emily. Even the Grigori, who were the actual true fallen in biblical lore, who left heaven on their own accord. After all, while Lucifer can never return to heaven despite having wings and can create portals to reach it, it's because he's being punished for the allowance of evil to corrupt the earth due to his actions. But when it comes to Vaggie, it's an understandable assumption that could be made after the revelation of her being an angel. Yet, from what we've seen so far, fallen angels can only be created via the elder angels, giving punishment. After all, they were the ones who judged and sent Lucifer down to hell in the first place. And unless we get some inkling of the Grigori, it's entirely plausible to say that Lucifer is the only fallen angel to exist in this universe. Of course, that's a matter of opinion, and when it comes to me, she isn't a fallen, merely forgotten until discovered to still be alive by Adam and Lute when she came to heaven. And I think the mere fact that she's actually able to go through heaven's gates shows that she isn't banished, and thus not fallen. Following the pattern established by Lucifer, though his Hellaverse story may have been manipulated for sympathy, it's clear that Lute is on the path to becoming a potential fallen, while Emily is not. Whether Lute ultimately becomes fallen, and let's be fair here, Abel's brief power-up by channeling his father's aura is not going to last forever. He managed to stop Lute so far, but that can ultimately change. Whether Lute ultimately becomes fallen, or returns to heaven's ways, or faces another fate, hell, earth, or even oblivion, is yet to be seen. But let's not be surprised when that actually happens, because you guys may have put her on Fraud Watch, but I really wouldn't put her on there for long. There's how that worked out with Alastor. There was a lot of people who had bright red faces after that.